Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video, we are going to build out a component here in our React application that does a GET request to our own server to the endpoint of movies, as we see here, built previously. And we're just going to be hitting up this endpoint, so we should be getting this back. So end goal of this video is to get this to show up on the web page using React. Okay, so I've done a little setup here just to remind ourselves where we're at. Everything outside the client's the back end. Everything inside the client is the front end. And what I have is an index.js that renders the app. I have my app component that's going to be using the hooks useState and useEffect to get this data. And then I have a single component, a movie component, that will end up mapping out. Now, as far as doing the actual fetch, you have a couple options. You could use native fetch. You don't need to install anything. It's completely customizable. Fair option. For the sake of example, we will be installing Axios and using that. So down here, I'm going to make sure I'm on my front end console in client, and I'm going to npm install Axios. While that's going, I'll go ahead to the backend client here, or the backend terminal, and start up the server. All right, and with that, we should be good to go. We'll come back here, check the front end. It looks like Axios was done. So let's go into our app component and import Axios from Axios. And then we're going to use useState to save the movies and useEffect to do the component did mount lifecycle. So first we'll set up our state. We'll say movies and set movies is useState, starting off as an empty array. And then we'll use useEffect for component did mount. And if you recall, the way to use useEffect as component did mount is to keep the dependency array, the second argument here. If we keep this empty, this will only fire the first time because it'll only refire if we have data in here and it sees it change. So the fact that it's empty, it'll only fire once. So we can do axios.get. And if you recall, this is to our own server, so we can say just /movies. That will come back with a resolved promise, bringing us a response. And for now, let's just console log the response. This is a good thing to do when you're first building these to make sure your request is working before you go and implement it and make it show up. All right, so I'm going to npm start, get this front end working. All right, so it is started up here, and as we can see, there is a console log. I'll make this a little larger. There's a console log on app.js line 8. It has a .data that is equal to our movies. Awesome. So we're requesting it from our own server. It came back just fine. So let's go back here. We know that res.data is our movies. So let's call set movies and save those. We'll just say set movies to be the response data. And that'll update this variable to now be our array of movies. In case there's an error, we'll always .catch. And for now, we'll just console log that error. All right, so now we want our movies to show up, but we're going to do this the React way. Everything's split into their own components. So I'm going to import the movie component from our components folder. And down here we can map them out. So I will say movies.map, and for each movie, return a movie component that has all the items from the movie. This is using spread notation, so I don't have to manually enter each key value pair. And I'll also give it a key. And for now, I'm just going to use the movie.title because I know that won't be duplicated for the sake of example. Okay, so now we can go to our movie component. It should be receiving all of its data via props, but we're going to double check that in console.log props here. And go check this in the web window again. So as this refresh, we can see 4 movie components are being created that each have a title, genre, and ID. So let's just get those to show up and call this good. So I'll give it an h1 with the movie.title, props.title. And we'll do a p tag for the genre. Props.genre. Let's say title here. All right, let's go check this in the web browser. And there we go. Data from our backend showing up on our front end. So we are 3/4 of the way to full stack here. As long as this data is hosted in a database instead of just statically on our server, that is full stack. So we're getting close with this. Now, one change I would make to this, just a small change, just because I don't like saying props over and over again. On this first line, I'm going to deconstruct props and bring title, genre, and for later, get the ID. so I don't need to keep repeating myself by saying props. All right, one more look. There we go. Okay, so that is the get request to your own server, getting it to show up on a front end. As soon as you're ready, let's move on to the next video where we will go in and create a form to do a post request and make a new movie. All right, we'll see you there.